Started with 500, on my way to a mil, closed over 100 deals. Can't change us. It's the game changers. It's the game changers.
You want to ask yourself every single day, am I doing everything possible to reach that goal? Don't get too far of yourself. Stay in the moment, stay grounded, and continue to push every single day. Welcome to the Game Changer Podcast. I'm your host, Elijah Bryant, and we got a special guest with us today. We got my boy, Brandon. How you doing, bro?
What's going on, bro?
Yo, we've been talking about this for a long time now.
Been a minute.
We finally here. So let's bring him back. Let's talk about your upbringing and where you from.
Yeah, I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, man. Just me, my brother, my sister growing up. So, yeah, man, it was just great times growing up, you know?
Okay. Did you have any hustles growing up? Did you work any jobs?
Man, I worked every job, man. The world we see today is not like the world I grew up in. I was trying to work a job as early as possible. So I was applying to a lot of places. I was trying to, you know, just do anything I could, man, to just make some money.
What is one that you could remember?
Man, my first job, man, I worked at the mall, man, and it was nice, man. It was cool because I was getting paid, but
What you was doing?
I was working at McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was working at McDonald's.
That is 90% of people's first job,
Yeah.
like McDonald's.
Well, back in the day, you know, I'm trying to get some shoes, some sneakers, so, you know, getting into Champs, getting into Foot Locker, man, it was like you got to know somebody.
Yeah.
But I needed a job, so as soon as I turned of age, man, that next month I had a job. First day, man. First day next month over, so.
For sure.
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to college. Yeah, I went a couple years. I was playing ball, and man, it was great, man. I enjoyed college. I enjoyed playing ball, but you know, it just didn't pan out. I wanted to go to the league, man. So, you know, that was my dream. That was my only goal in life, was to go to the league.
For sure.
Yeah.
Same with me. Like, I feel like having that dream, having that goal gives you that drive, that ambition. It shows you about discipline and hard work and stuff like that. So now, after college, did you pursue your career path?
Yeah, I had a friend. He was actually working in IT, and so he was showing me a few things. And this is really where a lot of started for me, because he was working in IT, and man, he was showing me check after check after check. I mean, he was just laying them down in front of me. And I'm like, you know, at first I wasn't interested, but you know, after a while I got interested, and I started, you know, looking at the material, and you know, he just made it look easy, honestly. He didn't show me that he was putting a lot of work to know what he knew. All he would say is, yo, they just paid, you know, a couple $1,000s for my gas to travel, or they paid for my lunch, or they paid, you know. And so he was showing me the success, but he wasn't showing me
How to do it.
how he did it. So, you know, I got into IT really heavy, and so I just started doing that. And man, it was relentless, man. I took a lot of tests, a lot of failure, a lot of information that you had to know to really hold it down. So
Now, what got you into real estate? Because you see in IT checks, you know, you're pursuing it, taking tests, learning about it.
Yeah.
Like, what made you even want to do a pivot to real estate?
Well, for a long time, I felt like I needed to get to my passion. I needed to get to my goal, which, you know, just to be financially set. And so, you know, I started moving in that direction. I took a lot of exams, man. I took probably 4 to 6 exams, and man, failed every single exam.
Damn.
Like, I was studying each time. I'm a pass.
And this is the real estate to become a realtor?
No, this was in IT.
Oh, okay.
And so I wasn't going to quit. I was to the point where I really mastered the information. But if you know IT, it always changes. And so I would keep working, try to pass it. And I wasn't going to stop. I was going to keep going. And the Lord blessed me, man. He got me out that industry. And I knew I was going to use the IT to get into real estate. I didn't know anything about real estate. And at that time, I had a friend, he was telling me about real estate. And I was like, I kind of had my eye on it. And so, you know, as he was telling me, I was like, you know, just keep it in the back of my mind. And one day, my manager, I was working this IT job. I was servicing 2 different locations at one time. I was a primary IT consultant, really. And so anything that go down, they come to me on 2 different sites. Whether I got to drive to the next site over in the next city for our company, or whether it's just here locally in this one building. And I'll never forget, man, I trained the guy that ended up taking my job.
Wow.
Yeah, let that sink in.
Damn.
I trained my own replacement. Now, I mean, I'm not a bitter person. I mean, I could care less. You know? He's a man. He got a family too, like us all. So he worked for it. We all interviewed, and I was training him, and then we had the interviews, and they selected him. And so that was like a kick in the gut. And then I don't remember if it was before that or after that, but my manager, he came up to me. I'll never forget this. He said, it was the end of the day. It was just me, him. I'm working late. You know, I'm getting ready to leave. And he came over and he was like, so how's your job search going?
That's what he says?
That's what he said.
Wow.
And so to save face, I'm like, well, I guess I'll start looking. Like, I'll start looking for another position. And right then and there, I said, I'll never let another man have control over my future, my finances, my destiny. From that point on, I said, well, we was looking into real estate anyway, so I just started going to meetups and then got me a quick little job working overnight. And I'm telling you, I work all night and I get up. That next week, I got up 4 out of the 5 days. I went to 4 straight meetups and I was tired as all get out. I was tired, I was exhausted, but I still went because I had that fire that I'd never let another grown man disrespect me like that.
For sure. And you talked about a lot just now, but I want to highlight something, right? You saying the guy basically disrespected you in your face, talking about a job search while you're training the person that is replacing you. And that lets me know, right? Job security is not really secure.
Yeah.
And this is why you guys have to look to other avenues, become an entrepreneur, get it by yourself because nobody else is going to get it for you.
Right.
So you saying now this is motivating you. Now you was already looking into real estate. So what got you to pursue it?
So at that time, you know, now I'm highly motivated to another level because I got a lot of goals, a lot of dreams. And I can remember as early as 2012, I would write things down. I email things to myself, like, you know, just ideas. I didn't realize that's really the makings of an entrepreneur. Trying different avenues, trying different ventures. And I would just write stuff down. I'd email myself, write a note. And I could look back as far as at least 2012, where I'm like, man, I was sending a lot of good ideas, but I wouldn't do anything with it. And so once that happened, went to these meetups, man, I'm shaking hands. Hey, how you doing? I'm Brandon. You know, I'm just getting in the room. That's all I did. I just got in the room. Yeah. And I never forget, man, I was in Uptown and we had probably about 10 to 12 people in a room. Just all 10 of us, all 12 of us. And I shook hands with everybody in the room. And at that time I was listening to Brandon Turner. Shout out to Beardy Brandon. And he was talking about house hacking. So you buy a house and you live, you know, buy a duplex, live in one side, you know, things like that. And man, I'm like, that's just not going to work for my life. That's not going to work for me. And lo and behold, I'm shaking hands in the room. You know, I'm talking to people. And the one guy that left out the room, they said, oh, you probably wouldn't want to talk to him. This is exact words. They said, you probably wouldn't want to talk to him because he's a wholesaler. You probably wouldn't want to do that. And so right away, I'm thinking like, I don't know what wholesaling is. I don't know who's a wholesaler. What's wholesaling? Yeah. And sure enough, they gave me his contact. I called him. We had an hour-long conversation, and he was telling me all about wholesaling, the whole process, and right then and there, I knew this is the way. This is how I'm gonna do it.
That's what it clicked, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy how they all stirred you away from wholesaling, where wholesaling is the beginner level for real estate. Yeah. You know, that's where you will want to start at. But all right, so now what clicked in that conversation?
I mean, I had already been searching for properties, but I was really, essentially what I was doing was looking at on-market properties. I was looking at retail properties. But wholesaling is the art of finding off-market distressed properties, or in our case, land. And so what he was telling me, I didn't fully understand it, but I could kind of grasp little pieces. And then lo and behold, at that time, this is like 2019, Brent Daniels, shout out to Brent Daniels.
Shout out Brent.
Shout out to Brent Daniels. He was in the early stages of his YouTube channel. They made the wholesaling hotline at that time. And if you remember, going from 2019 to going to 2020, the whole world came to a halt. So I was already getting into real estate. I was already like having motion. And then, you know, by the time 2020 hit, I hit the ground running. I'm looking at properties. I'm in my car driving. I'm calling people. I mean, I remember how my first call went, and I knew it was real because they said there's only 6 responses that a seller could have. And so as soon as they picked up, I was like, wow, I actually got this person on the phone. Yeah. And then next thing you know, they saying exactly the responses that's on the sheet. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then next thing you know, I'm calling more sellers. I'm just keep doing this. I'm finding more properties because, you know, we bring value as wholesalers to find a situation that a realtor cannot assist this individual. You know, when people die, you know, a probate situation, or if there's like liens or taxes or foreclosure, any case like that, realtors, they don't know what to do with it. They can't help those individuals because they're looking for something that they can list and go to market. So when we come in, we've got buyers already ready to go. We know what areas they're looking in, what zip codes they're looking in, and we can match the two together, and then we make a profit for doing that. For sure. Yeah.
How'd you get your first deal? Was it houses or was it land?
My first deal, technically it was a house, but I actually didn't close on it. So really it wasn't a true deal, but my first actual land deal.
Before you get into that, I want to know, how'd you even get into land now?
So I was doing a lot of cold calling from 2020, 2021, 2022. I was cold calling, and I got the receipts to prove this. I was calling 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day. I was calling on other people's lists because they having success. Let me call their leads. So I was doing a lot of cold calling, and I realized, I'm like, man, you know, I'm getting the traction, but I never closed a deal. I never got, you know, to the finish line. It was always something. And so that one that I did do with the house, the seller was in Seattle, Washington. The house was in Starrett, Alabama. I never talked to him. Never. I didn't talk to either one of the sellers. I didn't talk to them on the phone, anything. They text me, and I looked up and I got a notification saying seller signed the agreement. And I'm like, wow. And we took that whole thing. I ended up getting paid because there was more work that needed to be done. And so the buyer that I brought it to, they ended up closing on it eventually. And they just paid me out with the earnest money because we just got out the deal because they were too high on price. But they had a problem. They needed to sell it, and they just had to get a reduction for it, and they got it done. So technically that was my first deal.
How much he paid you out on that one?
Man, $5,500 came to my account.
I know that felt good.
Yeah. Man, it was amazing, man. I really just sat with it. I just sat in the room, and I got the call from the title company that said it'll be to you within an hour. And man, when I seen that money hit my account, I was like, man, this can't be real. Like, I didn't even talk to the seller.
All through text messages?
All through text.
So now, that was a land deal or a house deal?
That was a house.
Okay. Yeah. So now, how'd you transition into the land space after doing the house deal?
So, man, it was a blessing because I had a lead in my pipeline. I don't even know where it came from, but it was a land deal. And the land deal came in and it moved so quick. It moved over the weekend, like from Saturday night to Sunday morning. It was like, I got the deal in and it sold that Sunday. I had earnest money ready to go on a Sunday. They was sending it, they was wiring, where do I wire the money? And then I stepped back and I looked at it. I said, man, we leaving money on the table.
Fast. So, if they sign that quick.
They signed it quick. So I'm like, they leaving money on the table. I'm gonna have to up the price. Like there's a lot of money here. And I sent it to a realtor, and the realtor was like, I told him, I said, you the first to reach out to me. So out of respect, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to match this price. She was like, I won't even send it to my buyer. I'm gonna buy this myself if this is the price. And so she said, so you up the price already? I said, look, it is what it is, you know. And so I sent it to her, and she signed it still. Unfortunately, it ended up being a fraudulent deal.
Oh.
Yeah, so that messed it all up. But what it showed me was, man, these land deals move quick. They move quick, just like that. If it's a deal in place, it's gonna go quick.
So that definitely woke you up. Like, oh, I got to transition into this land space.
Yeah.
It's crazy because how I got into it based off my circle in Tampa, I was closing one house deal a month, making 10, 20K. But they was closing 8 land deals, 10 land deals, making 8K a deal. And posting online. I'm like, that triggered something in my mind. So now you like, okay, this deal didn't go through, but I'm seeing how quickly this is moving. Now, did you start pulling land lists from there, from that point?
At that point, I started hitting you up because I'm like, if I'm gonna get into land, I need to understand the basics. I need to understand the things I'm missing out on. So at that time, you were posting deals. You were posting online or you were posting somewhere, and I saw you on Brent Daniels' show as well. So I'm like, man, he's really like getting to it. Like he's getting these land deals quick. Like that's not normal.
Yeah.
I mean, for most people to do one deal, ask most wholesalers to do one deal is tough. To do 10 deals is tough. To do 50 deals is tough. You was doing hundreds of deals.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I gotta find out what you're doing. And so I remember I hit you up and I asked you, where is this course at? And you was like, it'll be out. It was like a week or two. You said it'll be out in a minute. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wait. And man, when I tell you, you had all the info, I think it was like a webinar you had, all the information was laid out. And I was like, man, I gotta get in. Gotta get in. Yeah.
So did you get the course right away?
Man, I'm gonna tell you this. My objective from the beginning was to never pay nobody. I wasn't gonna pay for a course. I wasn't gonna pay for anything. I said, all the information is there. I'm gonna do it the free way.
Yeah.
I can't believe I thought like that, man. There was something wrong with me.
You know, it's crazy. Not to cut you off, but you know, we went to a meetup. We went to a real estate meetup yesterday. Yeah. And one of the highlights that they was talking about was being scared to take that risk. Yeah. You know, having that poor mindset, scared to spend 100 to make thousands. Yeah. Because that's what millionaires do. They spend thousands of dollars to make millions of dollars. You have to spend money to make money, right? So you was hesitant, you ain't get it right away. What switched in that mindset to make you, you know, move forward with it?
Listen, man, I knew I was going to partner with you some kind of way because I saw how quick the land deal moved. That's the thing that got me. And so I'm like, I got to understand how to do this because land is different from houses. There's things that you need to know. And so I was sitting back. And man, at that time, your course was early on. It was literally like the first month. I don't even think it was out. It was like the first month they're like about to come out. And I said, I need to get this. And man, you had such a deal at that time because now you've added to the course. So when you add to the course, it's more valuable. So early on, I'm like, man, I got to get this course. Man, I asked you the price for the special at that time. Man, I said, if he dropped this one more time, one more time. And sure enough, you dropped the price. Man, I took a pair of brand new Kobe 10s, unused, dead stock. I dragged them out my closet, I sold them, and I swiped my card that night.
And bought the course.
I bought the course that night.
Damn, I didn't even know that. The cherry 10s?
Bro, I dropped, man, them Kobe 10s, I had never even tried them on once I got them. But I knew, I said, this is it right here. This is what I got to do.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, bro. Yeah. Because that's something that we cherish too. Like, basketball, we got Jordans on that. You know what I'm saying? Facts, like, that's big, bro. So now you get the course. Yeah. Now, what was the next steps after that?
Man, my number one thing was because I had been doing it so long. I worked with a lot of partners, and I realized like you gotta provide value. And so I'm like, how can I provide? I knew what to do when it came to you. I say, anytime I contact you, it's gonna be about a lead. Because if I ask you, how do I do this deal, and I'm sending you a deal, that's a lot different than just saying, hey, help me. You know? Yeah. And so if you remember, I was sending you deal after, it was really lead after lead after lead. They were horrible leads, but I was paying attention to how you respond to it. You say, okay, look at this area, look at the road, look at the square footage. There was things you were telling me that I would write all those things that I tracked everything. Everything you said, I was tracking it.
And you know it's crazy? Because I remember this. I remember you said to be trash.
Man, that was
but
terrible.
I know you was getting closer and closer and closer after every deal you sent me.
Yeah.
Now, we closed probably 6 or 7 deals together.
Yeah.
I don't remember them because I closed so many.
Yeah.
But can you talk about one that we closed together?
Yeah, I could talk about our first one. I remember, and this showed me a lot about how land works. A lot of land is about strategy. So my first deal that we ever did, it was me and you together, and I was calling on your leads, and so I'm calling them constantly, and it seemed like all of them would just fall through some kind of way. But this one was different. The seller gave me the price right away. He told me, he said, if you give me 40,000, let's say it was like 40,000, give me 40,000. But our buyer was only paying 35,000. But see, because I had the experience of 3, 4, 5 years of calling, I already knew I gotta align myself with the seller. I just gotta be conversational. That's all it is. You're just talking to people. And so when he gave me his price, I said, okay, you know, markets change all the time. So, you know, if we can come above your price, you know, I'll hold on to your information and I'll give you a call back whenever the market changes. He said, that's fine, but don't call me back unless you got $40,000. And so sure enough, the next month over, I remember I got the text or you had called us. We was on Zoom some kind of way. And I remember you said you was looking through your leads and you said, this is a deal. The buyer just went to 45,000. So I was happy. I called him right back. Man, we got that thing locked up that day. That was my first deal.
5,000.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, easy.
You know what's lit about that is each month, right?
Yeah.
I post in my group, my builder's criteria, the area that they're looking, how many lots they're looking for, and the prices.
Yeah.
And what I tell people and what I've noticed through the years of being in this game, prices go up every month, right? Certain areas, it might be 2,500, it might be 15,000. But if you're being aware of those prices, you could catch those follow-up deals that you spoke to in the cold call, close them out the following month, and you could build up your pipeline like this. You want to keep your follow-ups, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's crazy that you actually use that strategy for that first deal. And you probably did that for all those other deals that we closed together as well.
Yeah, the follow-up is key. That's why a lot of newbies, they get into the group and they like, man, I just read a message. They said, I just put out mailers for 2 months straight. And I'm like, the game is in the follow-up. Real estate is in the follow-up because markets change all the time. That's my number one line on the phone because I understand. For example, in Port St. Lucie, when I got into real estate, October 2022, Port St. Lucie was at $83,000. Lots were selling for $83,000. So that's the price the builder wanted to pay. Right now, in Port St. Lucie, lots are selling for over $135,000.
And my builder's at 140 now.
Yeah.
And when I started, right, 2021, you said it was at 83 at 2022. When I first got in the game, lots were selling for $25,000 in that
crazy.
area. So just think about this real quick. And I tell people this all the time. Imagine having the money at that time and being able to buy these lots. And that's why it's important to start buying these lots once you get in the game, once you start closing some deals, because now the equity increases over time. And now those is like 80, 90K flips just for holding lots. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I notice another thing that you're doing, right? Because, you know, I'll be watching. Even though I'll be working, I'll be watching, right?
Yeah.
I see that you've been closing a lot of deals with people in the group. Using the EDB Academy as a resource. Yeah. So talk about that.
Yeah, man, the network is crazy. I think people underestimate the power that we have together. And that's why I think your group is powerful. you may not know this because we haven't even talked about it yet, right? So you may not know that once I saw what you were doing, I initially didn't understand it. You showed me prop stream. You showed me how to look at the lots. You showed me all these things, and I knew I was in the right place. And so when it came to our community, man, I swiped my card there. I didn't have the money. I was in our group without the money. It was swiping every month, and I was in the negative. But that's how valuable the group is. And I'll tell you one deal I did. I had made a connection with one person that had the seller. So they're talking to sellers. They're talking to the seller side in a certain area. That's how powerful connections could be, because this person has the seller and this person has the buyer. All I did was bring them both together. And we all made money.
Wow.
And the crazy part about that is like bringing both sides together. The seller was too high on the price initially. The buyer was too high on their price. So I talked to both groups and I told them, you need to get your side lower. You need to get your side higher. And you got to just stay in the game. You can't give up. You can't quit, because initially it didn't work.
Yeah.
And the seller couldn't sell to anybody else. And the buyer, they're the only people that want this deal. They're the only person that wanted to buy that lot. And so I kept that in the back of my mind. I said, just follow up on them and keep going. So as time went on, I checked in. I said, hey, you still got that seller? And I said, hey, your buyer's still interested? And I said, hey, if you want to get this deal done, we can all get paid. Everybody get happy. The seller gets their money. You get paid. The buyer gets paid. We all get paid. And sure enough, it all came together at the end and we all got paid. And that's from your group.
That's lit, bro. And there's a couple things, oh my God, a couple key points, right? One, follow up, right? You made sure to check in with both sides each time. Yeah. A lot of people, when they come in, they just want to lock up the deal the first call. Nah, you got to make sure you get that first call, but always follow up with them. So that's one. The second thing, you connected two other sides. Yeah. Right? You connected. It's hard JVing sometimes with one person. Yeah, right? It is. So to be able to connect both sides within the group and still everybody get paid, all the paperwork handled, that's lit, bro. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I remember seeing this deal December 20, something around December of 2023. Right. 3 months ago, right? Right. I'm in Colombia. I'm coming back. And I see you and another person in the group, Millionaire Ray. Yeah. Y'all closed the deal together to end the year off perfectly. Yeah. Can we talk about that deal? Yeah. I think that might have been the deal. I think that was the deal that... Oh, that was the deal? I think that was the deal that we bridged together. Honestly, I can't even remember at this point. I have to check because I've done a couple deals now. But yeah, that might have been it. All right. So you just had that deal. Yeah. The following week, you post another deal. Yeah. So let's talk about that one. Man, that was the best deal, man, because at this time, now I'm getting a little better at talking to these builders. You know, deals happen through relationships. So let me give you an example. You have a builder that you've done hundreds of deals with, right? That same builder, I can have that builder, right? But if we both take out our phones and we call at the same time, they'll answer you before they answer me. For sure. On the same lot. For sure. Or a different lot. It doesn't matter. When they see you call, because you already built that relationship. Yeah, you built that relationship with them. And so I started really going deep on these builder relationships. So when I'm sending them opportunities, I'm making sure they're great deals. So I'm not wasting their time. These builders they're busy. Yeah. So I want to make sure when I send them a lead, it's exactly according to their criteria. You know, it's things like that. And so that deal was special because by that time, I knew exactly what my builder was looking for. And I called the seller, and the buyer was paying $23,000 in Port Charlotte. And I called the seller. I don't remember if he gave me his price or I offered him something. Man, he wanted $14,000 or something like that. Instantly, I knew it was a deal. And I made $9,000 on that deal, man. Yeah. And that's why it's important to build those relationships. Yeah. And another thing is you just being consistent. Yeah. You just being in the game, knowing what you're doing, and just thinking of it more so long term.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you was cold calling what you said, 5 hours, 6 hours a day, and wasn't getting nothing. And I know that probably took some time too, right? You was probably doing that for months, maybe even a year or two.
Years.
I
was working for years on that phone.
And now you're finally getting that traction,
Yep.
utilizing the group, utilizing other people's dialers. Like you literally tried probably every way to get a deal. Just from listening to this interview right now, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's super impressive. So like, what would you tell somebody else that's, watching this? They were on the fence, scared to get my course or anybody's course, right? Scared to invest in themselves. What would you tell them?
Man, I'll tell them a lot of things, man. we got enough time. I mean, I would start right now. You got to jump in today, right now. You got to jump in right away, because the further you get away from today, when you inspired, you motivated, I mean, it's just going to become some distant memory, And so starting right away, and I think I'm a lot different than other people, because like I said, getting burned and having dude tell me where your next job at, that was always my motivator. It was always in the back of my mind. I was never going to quit. I was never going to stop. I've been in it for years without doing a deal, a single deal. Yeah. I've been in the game for years without doing a deal, but I was never going to quit. I said, I'm going to keep going until I get to where I want to go. So that's number one, is that you just got to be relentless, man. And then number two, just collaborate, get in the room. Like being in the room is so important. Yeah. I listen to a lot of content, even while I'm working. I could be on a dialer, I could be making calls, and I could have motivation in both ears. I don't know if anybody else does it, but I could literally have motivation in one ear, just going off, and I could have the seller in the other ear talking to the seller, because I've done it so many times. I'm used to having conversations.
Because you had to multitask, when you're on the dialer, right? When I used to play video games, I used to play video games while on the dialer. You got to make it fun. Right? Because it is a boring, tedious task. So, but you never know. The other line of that dialer could be a 10K deal.
Just like that.
So just being consistent. What advice would you give, maybe your 18-year-old self?
Man, if I only knew about land back then.
I know, right?
It's crazy. I mean, to be honest, I would say, I will say I did a certain level of exploring, just searching through different industries. Like I did a lot of internships. I worked in a law firm, a bank. I mean, I was everywhere. I was working in different places just to try to see what I liked, know. But I would have took action or bought a course like this. I would have bought this when I was younger, for sure, hands down, because people have already done what you're trying to do. Yeah. What you're trying to do, it's already been accomplished before. You might have a different spin on it or a different strategy. Like that's what I feel like. I feel like I got a lot of strategy. I'll share them with you too.
Can you give us one strategy?
Yeah. All right, for instance, and this is new for me. I just started, literally a month ago, I just started reaching out to builders on LinkedIn, because I got a direct line of communication to them. Now, I understand that if I reach out to a builder, you got to understand that builders are busy. They're busy building houses. Yeah. So my approach is going to be a lot different from somebody that's new. Even you, or even somebody else that's doing something, when you see a text come in that's like pages long. Yeah,
you're not reading that.
Man, it make you feel some kind of way, because we actively running businesses. So just imagine a builder. So when I contact the builder, I'm not asking them, man, what's your square foot? What's your price? I'm not asking, you got to build the relationship. So the first thing I might say is, hey, are you looking for lots? Something simple. Real simple, and it's been working, man. I've been getting builders like crazy.
Talk about. He says the most simplest things, but they work.
They work.
Yeah. What you say? Are you looking for lots?
Are you looking for lots?
That's how you started off. Yeah. That's all you need to say to a builder, because honestly, they're either gonna say yes or no. Yep. But 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say yes, because that's what they need. Yeah.
It's amazing, man.
All right, so what's one more strategy?
Oh, man.
If you have any on the top of your head.
I would say, like I said, the game is about relationships, right? Mm-hmm. So if I understand relationships, I can take your criteria and I can send you a lot and you can get to the builder faster. It's the same way with realtors. So realtors have relationships with builders.
Yeah.
So I can contact a realtor who's already in relationship with a builder and get to the builder way faster because they already have a relationship. Yep. So that would be a realtor who recently posted a new construction home for sale. Contact them. Say, hey, is your builder looking for more lots to build on? I would love to provide value to you as a realtor and send them a lot.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I want to say one thing, right? I'm looking for a lot, right, in Oak Island, North Carolina, under like 175. If you could get it for under 150, even better. I have a realtor that's willing to list any lots I have in that area. She'll list it for over 225. Wow. And we could get that equity in between. So this is for anybody watching this. Please submit any deal in Oak Island, North Carolina for under 175. Under 150 is a perfect deal. Yeah. All right. But I love that you said that because utilizing realtors really has been helping us close deals outside of Florida.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think we don't talk about this enough, how hard we really work. I think even I think you underestimate how hard you really work at your craft, you know, and understanding these relationships, understanding the market, understanding how to look at a lot. You know, these things, you've got years of experience, you know, doing that. So I think you got to talk about it a lot more from the webinars that you do that's free, you know. And I look at Jazz, you know, you talk about Jazz, man, she came in and paid you money for 30 minutes of your time. And she got a deal the next day. Man, that tells me a lot right there, man, on everything, really. Yeah. Because it's like we don't see value how we should, you know? And so that's a big thing for me, man, is I see you work, man. You always working. You always on the phone. You always making calls, or you always mentoring somebody or helping somebody, texting, emailing, putting up a post. You know, like, that's a big deal, man. You're a busy man. So it's like, we got to really just respect that, man. I really appreciate your hustle.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you for coming, man. This was a great podcast.
So,
where can the viewers follow you at?
Yeah, man. You can reach me at my email address, real.mitchell@icloud.com. That's real.mitchell@icloud.com. But before we get up out of here, you know, I got something I want to present to you. You know, you haven't seen this quite yet, but man, my journey with the EDB Academy, I just really wanted to do something special, you know.
For sure.
Because it's really history in the making, you know. So I wanted to do something, man, that really captures the moment. Yeah.
I hope y'all can see this.
Yeah.
We got all the members of the EDB Academy.
Yeah. Just something to remember this time, man, because really you changing lives, man. It's special. And so I just wanted to do something, man, because when you got money, what can you get, man, that money can't buy? So
that's for sure. And that's fire, bro. Damn.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to flip land, right, I do classes every Monday. The same classes Brandon went to, and Brandon still joins these classes. Yeah. And you was telling me about 10 minutes before the podcast, like, yo, these webinars might be better than anything else just because of the amount of information and the amount of knowledge, answering questions that we're giving y'all. So at 8 p.m. every Monday, I do free classes. Make sure you join, all right? Game changers.
Game changers.